and welcome to the first Fake News Friday. My name is Catherine Moore and I'm a librarian at the Open University Library. So throughout May we are going to be doing a series of short live video clips talking about fake news every Friday. So we all know decisions should be based on sound information. If they're not going to be great decisions. And this is always important, especially in the midst of a general election. So this means being able to spot fake news becomes really, really important. And I'm going to give you 2 tips to help you spot fake news today. Tip number 1, think about the source. And this can be really quick and simple. Have a look at what else gets published on that news website. If on the homepage is full of headlines that are about aliens, women not wearing many clothes, or just generally inflammatory, you're unlikely to be reading a site that is going to give you a good piece of investigative journalism. So by all means keep reading, but just be aware what you're reading might be fiction even though it's called news. Have a look at the website's mission. Most news websites, and especially smaller ones, have a page that says mission or about this service, and they'll normally be found on the home page. These, if you are reading a news site that is purely for satire, normally those pages about that website will say, this is for comic effect only. My favourite description from a satire news site was in the About Us section. It had these stories are fictitious. However, given how strange the world is, some of them may be true. If you're reading something that may be true, you want to know that actually you're reading fiction, not a real news service. And this was on something that called itself America's top independent news service as its tagline, but just on its mission page, which was 1 click away from the home page, you did get this is satire, guys. Okay, and the other thing to look for is that does the site have a clear sponsor, or is a particular company sort of used an awful lot throughout the story? If so, then it's worth Googling them. Now that can be, so you're just picking up the bias of the news website that's publishing the article you're reading, or it could be something much more important to find out if you're reading a news article that isn't a news article but is a scam instead, pretending to be a news article. So an example of that would be online wealth, so the nasty, darker side of fake news. With just a little bit of effort you can spot where it is. Okay, tip number 2, check the author. Firstly, does your news story have an author? If it doesn't mean run away instantly, you're definitely reading fake news, but it should make you question what you're reading. If there is no author, then all the credibility of the source you're reading is coming from the website itself. So doing that first check of seeing what other news stories they publish is a good call. If there is an author, Google them. Do they look real? If you can't find them on Google, then you really want to question if this is a real person, as most journalists will want to get themselves out there on the internet and advertise themselves as real journalists because they want people like you to know that. Okay, and the other thing to note is, does the writer of your story have credibility in the fields that they're writing in? So, for example, if you're reading a science story, is it written by a science journalist or someone with a background in science? And again, that should be quite clear from a quick Google search. So, those are my 2 tips for today. Thank you very much for listening, and please join my colleague Helen for some more tips for spotting fake news next Friday. Thank you very much. Bye.